you have the lights on, you have your materials. Make sure I can see your face in your camera. So if it's a little too high, kind of pull your computer screen down so I can see you. I don't want to see just the top of your head.
TV off.
Yeah, and TV's off. Right, Tyler, TV's off because we need to be focused on math. Kaliana, can you turn your camera on? Kaliana, if you're coming to math class, you need to have your camera on so I can see you're here.
Miss Gibby, if I can interrupt for just 1 second. Is that okay? Hi, everyone. Yeah. How you guys doing? Can you wave? Then you have to unmute yourself. So I wanted to let you know that I'll be here for all of class. I'm gonna have my camera on because Miss Gabine's gonna kind of take the lead in today's math lesson. And then if I get on to help you guys at all, or if she needs me to help explain, then I'll turn my camera on. So keep in mind, not only am I going to be here to help Miss Gabine if she needs help and to kind of watch her teaching, this gives me some time. Now I can watch and kind of see who's really following along with Miss Gabine, who's doing the work, who's participating. It's hard for me to do that whenever I'm teaching because there's so many small squares. But now not only can I watch the lesson, but now I can see who's being an attentive learner at home. So keep that in mind, okay? All right, before she gets started, does anyone have any questions for me?
Can I go ask my dad if he could try to fix my camera?
Well, why don't we wait, Chase, since Miss Gabine's gonna get started. Okay. And then just do it after class. It's okay as long as you can see us for now.
Okay.
I just don't want you to miss anything because she's going to introduce a new method today. And I think this was all right. Everyone else has their cameras on and ready to go. All right, take it away, Miss Gabine.
All righty. So we've been talking about division for the past week. So who can remind me of one of the methods that we've already learned on how to divide? Isla, what's one way?
Long division.
What type of, what's one of the methods that we learned for division?
I look back in my book.
Yeah.
Look for your eyes. No, Pat, don't you see? About our world.
While you're looking, I'll see if someone else has one of the other methods, all right? Chase, I think I saw you put your hand up.
Long division.
Long division, so that's our standard method or our traditional method. There's two other ways that we learned before we learned long division. Does anyone remember what they're called?
What's that?
I don't know.
Nina?
One of them is area model.
The area model. So that was one with our rectangle. And what's the one other one? It also starts with an A. Isla, did you find it?
An array.
An array. Yes, you can use an array to divide. So today we're going to learn another method of how to divide. So I'm going to share my screen. All right, everyone see my paper in my hand? Give me a thumbs up. All right. So the new method we're going to learn is called partial quotients. So does anyone have any ideas on why they might think that this method will be called partial quotients? Does anyone have any ideas on maybe why it would be called partial quotients? Elijah, what do you think?
I think it's going to be like partial products.
He thinks it's going to be like partial products. It is pretty similar. We're kind of taking partial quotients and then we add them together at the end. So I'm going to show you guys one example first so that we
It's
can
also
see.
kind of like long division.
You're right, Chase, but just make sure you can click the raise your hand button if you want to chime in. Alrighty.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. It looks kind of like long division. So I'm going to show you guys. So we're going to start with 96 divided by 4. So let's just go over our vocabulary words again. So who can tell me which number in my equation here is the dividend? Sophia.
The dividend is 96.
You're right. 96 is my dividend. All right, let's see. Gracie, what is number 4? What vocab word do we have for number 4, the number we're dividing by?
Divisor.
You're right, that's our divisor. And then our answer, which we don't know, what is that called?
Quotient.
Who said that? Oh, is that you, Gracie? All right, yes, that is our quotient. So we have our dividend, our divisor, and our quotient. So for partial quotients, we're going to set up our problem in a bracket, just like we would for long division. So let's see, Nolan, where am I going to put my 96? Am I going to put it inside of my bracket or outside of my bracket?
Inside.
Inside, because our dividend always goes inside of our bracket. And then our number 4 can go on the outside. So this equation reads 96 divided by 4. Right. And for partial quotients, we're going to draw a line down the side to help us. Alrighty, so for division, normally when we were dividing with long division and we had a 2-digit number, we would usually kind of like cover up the 6 and we would do one number at a time, right? But when we do partial quotients, we're going to look at the whole number together. So when we're dividing, if we have 96 divided by 4, what am I supposed to think to try to help myself figure out how I'm going to divide? Reese.
You're gonna try to think what times what will get me closest to 96.
Right. So what are we multiplying? What's the other number?
4.
Yeah. So we're going to think 4 times what can get me as close to 96 as possible. But what do we have to make sure when we're thinking about getting close, Reese? What can we not do?
It's gonna like take a while if you were doing like either like 4 times 2. So like you should probably try to go 4 times 10 first.
You are exactly right. You must have watched the video that I posted on Schoology. But you're right. If we kind of think about our 4 facts, 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 2 is 8. It would take us a long while to get close to 96. But when we're thinking about our multiplication facts, what do we have to make sure that we don't do? We want to get close to 96, but we can't go what, Reese?
You can't go over 96.
We can't go over. That's right. I just wanted to make sure you remember that we can't go over 96. So like she said, if we go through each of our 4 math facts, it's going to take us a while to get close to 96. We would be sitting here writing a list for a long time. So what we can do, like Reese said, is if we know 4 times 10 equals 40, that's much closer to 96 than doing 4 times 1 or 4 times 2. So I'm going to write my number 10 on the side over here, but below my 96. Whenever we do some practice problems together, we want to make sure we kind of line up our numbers nicely so that we don't get confused. So we did 96 divided by 4, we think 10. Next, we would multiply. We're going to do 10 times 4. What's 10 times 4, Nolan?
40.
40. So I can write 40 underneath my 96. Next, I'm going to subtract, just like in long division. We multiply and then we subtract. So when I subtract, I'm left with 56. So am I all done with my problem? Nod your head yes if you think we're all done, or shake your head no if you think we're not done yet. Nina, why are you shaking your head? Why are we not done yet?
Because our answer is bigger than our divisor.
Divisor, yes. So this number, after we subtract, 56 is still larger than our divisor. So that means we can still take more groups of 4. So we have
Can I interrupt
56.
for one second?
Yes, Mr. Shevchuk.
One thing, Nina, that you want to knock into a habit of, that 56 that you have right there isn't your answer. Think of that as like when you say 96 divided by 4, come up with some kind of scenario in your mind. Like you have you made $96 shoveling snow, and you're splitting it up between 4 people. So that's your money that you're making groups of 4 of until you don't have any money left. So remember, your answer is always going to be on the top. Right now, you already took 10 groups of $4 out of the 96. That's on the right of your work bar. So really, the right of your work bar has all of your partial answers. Then that's going to give you your final answer. So don't think of underneath the 96 minus 40 equals 56. Don't think of that as your answer. That's what you're trying to divide into equal groups, okay? All right.
Thank you, Ms. Shevchuk, for that clarification. Alrighty, so yeah, we have 56 that we still need to divide by 4. So that's why we need to keep going, and we're going to repeat our process again. So now I need to think 4 times what will get me as close to 56 as possible without going over. So Sophia, what do you think, what math fact should we use?
4 times 10 again.
Yeah, we can use 4 times 10 again. Write our 10 over here. What's 4 times 10, Sophia?
40.
40. I can do 10 times 4 is 40. And then when I subtract, I'm left with 16. Yeah.
Yeah, and then the next, wait, what?
So Sunny, am I done with my problem?
I don't.
What do we have left down here?
16.
So what does this mean?
It means
So is this 16 larger than or less than our divisor?
larger.
Larger. So does that mean that we're done our problem if it's larger?
It's bigger, so you can times it again.
Yeah, we need to keep dividing because we can still take out more groups of 4 since we still have 16 left that we need to divide. So let's see. Izzy. So if I'm thinking 4 times what is going to get me as close to 16 as possible, what number should I try?
4 times 4 equals 16.
You're right. So I can put a 4 down here. 4 times 4 is 16. And when I subtract, I'm left with 0. So now that I'm all done dividing, since My number down here is less than our divisor. Now I can add up all of my partial answers to get my final answer. So when I add them all up, I get 24. So my answer I can write up here on top of my bracket. So 96 divided by 4 is 24. Since that's what all of my partial answers add up to. And since our from our subtraction over here is 0, that means we don't have a remainder. Izzy, do you have a question?
What if you did have a remainder? Would that number, like, say it was 16 minus like 14, would the remainder be 2? 24, like, or, that's what I.
Yeah, so if you had 16 minus 14 and you had 2, then you would put your answer from your partial quotients up here, and then you'd have to add your remainder. So you'd write R2 for your remainder.
Okay.
You're exactly right, Izzy. Okay, let me move this sticky note out of the way. Sorry, friends. All right, so if I wanted to do this problem again, how could I do it differently so that I would have less steps? So over here I had 3 steps. I took 10 groups first, then another 10 groups, and then 4 groups. How could I start off differently so that I would have less steps to do? Nolan, what do you think?
4 times 20, and that equals 80.
You're right. So if we first took a group of 20, and we know 20 times 4, if you can cross out the 0 and then do the more basic fact first. So you have 2 times 4 is 8, and then you would add your 0. 80 is still less than 96, so you can still do that. So then when we subtract, we're left with 16. And then Nolan, how many groups would I take next?
4.
4. I would take 4 more groups. And we know from the last one that 4 times 4 is 16. And then when I subtract, I'm left with 0. So what would I do next to finish my problem? Elijah, what would I do next to get my final quotient?
Add up the numbers on the work bar.
Yeah, I would add the numbers over here on the work bar. So I would have 24. So my final answer is 24, and I can write that on the top. So as you can see, we got the same answer, even though we had different steps. So sometimes if you work with a partner or you compare with someone else, you might have more steps than someone else, or you might have less steps, but that's okay. You just want, when you're thinking about how many groups you want to take, you want to think of some of the basic facts that you know that will be helpful. So maybe I wouldn't know that 20 times 4 equals 80 off the top of my head, so I might have to start with just taking a group of 10. It's always good to start thinking about groups of 10 first. That's always a good one to start with. Sometimes you can take 20 or even 30. All right, so we'll do another example together. All right, so next we're going to do 67. Let me move my paper down. 67 divided by 3. So Tyler, I want you to help me set up my bracket. Where am I going to put 67 in my bracket? Am I going to put it inside the bracket or outside?
Outside.
Outside? Am I going to put my 67, the dividend, on the outside?
Inside.
On the inside. Remember, our big number is always going to go on the inside of our bracket. So where am I going to put my 3, Tyler?
The outside.
Outside. So Tyler, can you read me my division problem down here? Here, go ahead. I'm going to point for you at the numbers. Tyler, where'd you go? Alrighty, well anyways, Seth, can you read me my division problem for me?
3 divided by 67.
Remember, what's our big number? What do we start with?
3 divided by 7.
Our big number, our dividend, we need to start with that one, so we want to do 67 divided by
3.
Seth, make sure you listen to what Miss Gabina is asking you. Don't just blurt something out. You know, when she says, which one's the bigger number, you know, what's bigger, 67 or 3?
Okay.
Which one? Which number's bigger?
67.
Okay, so think about that, okay? So just when she calls on you, you don't have to hurry up and say something real quick. Think first, listen to her, and then tell us your answer, okay?
Okay.
Alrighty. I'm going to draw my work bar down the side. All right, so let's see. Ilea. So I'm trying to think. 3 times what will get me close to 67, Ilea? So what number do you think we should try first? Ilea, can you unmute yourself? Ilea, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm trying to think. 3 times what will get me as close to 67 as possible? What do you think we should try first?
Tens.
Yeah, so we can try with the 10. So I have 10 over here. What am I going to do next, Ilea?
So think, you just took 10 groups of 3 away from that 67. So what are 10 groups of 3?
30.
30. You are right. So how am I going to find out how much I have left to divide, Ilea?
You're gonna subtract 30 from 67.
You're right. We're going to do 67 minus 30. And what's that, Ilea?
37.
37. You are right. All right. So are we done with our division, Ilea?
No,
No. And why is that?
because our answer is smaller than the divisor.
Not smaller. And remember, this one isn't our answer. This is what we have left to divide.
Excuse me, Miss Gabine.
Yes, Tegan, I think that is.
Yeah, Chase says he can't hear anything in the chat.
Somebody said, who can't hear?
Chase.
Chase.
Chase, maybe you should log on to your laptop.
Alrighty, Ilea.
I'll worry about Chase. You can go and keep going.
Okay. So Ilea, our number down here is what we have left to divide. And remember, this is bigger than our divisor, so that's why we're not done. We need to keep going until our divisor, until our what's left is either 3 or less than 3. All right, so let's see. Bella Watkins. You're going to help me with the next step. So now I'm trying to do 37 divided by 3. So 3 times what will get me as close to 37 as possible? What should I do next? Here, Bella, can you unmute yourself?
Yeah.
Alrighty, so 3 times what will get me as close to 37 as possible without going over?
10.
10, we can do 10. So I'm gonna do my 10 over here, so that means I'm taking 10 groups of 3. So what's 10 groups of 3?
10 groups of 3 is 30.
30. And then what am I gonna do to find out how much I have left to divide?
Subtract.
Subtract. And then what's 37?
Muted. Oh. 7.
7. All right, so now are we done, Bella?
Okay.
Yeah.
Get those away from me.
Are you sure? We have 7 left.
No.
Yeah, so no, we're not done because 7 is still bigger than 3. That means we can still take more groups of 3.
Oh, I want to eat.
All right, so Peyton will help me with the last step. All right, so I still have 7 left to divide. I need to do 7 divided by 3. So we're trying to think. 3 times what will get me as close to 7 without going over? What do you think, Peyton?
Is my audio working now?
I can hear you.
Okay. 3 times 2.
3 times 2, so I can put a 2 over here. And what's 3 times 2, Peyton?
6.
6. And then when I subtract, I'm left with 1. So now am I done, Peyton? Yes, because now my what's left here is less than my divisor, is 1. All right, so Tegan, what do I need to do next to figure out my final answer?
You need to bring down the 67
To bring down 67. What do I need to do with my partial quotients over here on the side?
add them together or subtract.
We're going to add them together so we can find out the whole final answer.
Sorry, I just didn't understand this that much.
It's okay, we're still learning. So 10 plus 10 plus 2 is
22.
So what am I going to write as my final answer up here on the top?
22.
Just 22?
Remainder 1.
Remainder 1. All right, nice work. Okay, now we can open our student workbooks to page 92. So we're going to work on number 1 together. All right, so up here it says solve using the standard algorithm. We're going to use partial quotients instead.
So make sure that you're crossing that off and writing partial quotients up there. So if you ever look back, you know that this is not the standard algorithm.
Right. That's a good idea so that you remember that this is the method we were using. We're using partial quotients. We weren't using long division, which that's what the standard algorithm is. All right, so Sarah, can you help me set up my bracket? What number am I going to put on the inside of my bracket?
Did you say me?
Yes, Sarah.
Okay. 46. I meant 2.
What goes on the inside? In here.
46.
46. So then my 2 will go out here. I'm going to draw my work bar down the side. Right, so make sure to, when you're writing, to try to keep your numbers lined up nice and neat so that you can, when you go back, you can see what you were doing. All right, Cooper. What's going to be my first step? I have 46 divided by 2. What do I need to be thinking?
Of what to divide?
Yeah, so we're doing 46 divided by 2. So how can I think about it to make it easier? How am I going to think of it like with multiplication?
You do 2 times something?
Yeah, equals, what am I trying to get close to?
46.
46. And then can I go over?
No.
No, we have to make sure we don't go over. All right, so what can we try? So we can write over here. 2 times what will get you close to 46, Cooper?
2 times 23.
You know exactly, but what if we think about multiples of 10? What should we try first, Cooper? If we didn't know right off the top of our head.
2 times 10.
Yeah, we can do 2 times 10. And what is 2 times 10, Cooper?
20.
20. And then what am I going to do next? What's my next step? So I multiplied. What's my next step, Cooper?
You do 20 times 2.
No, we already did our multiplication. We did 10 times 2, which is 20. What am I going to do with my 46 and my 20? To find out what I have left to divide.
Subtract.
Subtract. And when I subtract, what do I have left?
26.
26. All right, so am I all done or do I need to keep going, Cooper?
Keep going.
I need to keep going, right? Because 26 is still bigger than my divisor. All right, so Zoe, now I'm trying to do 26 divided by 2. So I'm thinking 2 times what will get me close to 26?
2 times 10.
2 times 10. And what is 2 times 10, Zoe?
20.
20.
Okay, boys and girls, I see a lot of you guys watching the screen, but I don't see your pencil moving. Remember, you should be working on this problem with Miss Gabine as she's explaining it.
Yeah, I was just about to say, make sure when you're writing it in your book, try to line up your numbers down here so that it makes more sense. Alrighty, Zoe, so what am I doing next? I divided,
You're subtracting 26 minus 20.
Which is what, Zoe?
6.
6. So am I all done my division, Zoe? No, because 6 is still bigger than 2. All right, so Soren, now I'm doing 6 divided by 2. So 2 times what will get me close to 6, Soren?
2 times 3.
2 times 3. And what is 2 times 3, Soren?
6.
6. All right, and what am I going to do next, Soren?
And then you see that the remainder is 0.
You're right, the remainder is 0. What did I do to find the remainder, Soren?
You did multiplication.
Well, I multiplied 3 and 2 to get 6, but what do I do down here to get 0?
Divide.
Not divide.
Well, divide 2 and 6.
Yeah, we did 6 divided by 2. Down here, we're going to subtract, Soren. So we did our
Okay.
divided. We multiplied 3 and 2 to
And
find out.
that is 0.
Yeah, 6 minus 6 is 0. And Soren is right. Since we have 0, we do not have a remainder. All right, so let's see. So Reese, what am I going to do to find my final answer?
You are going to minus 10, or you're going to add 10, 10, and 3.
You're right. We're going to add up our partial quotients over here. So 10, 10, and 3 is 23. So Reese, can you read me my whole division problem up here with our answer?
46 divided by 2 equals 23.
46 divided by 2 is 23. And I can write my answer up here too on top of my bracket. All right, let's do the next one together. We're doing 96 divided by 3. So Olivia, how am I going to set up my bracket? Which number is going to go on the inside? Olivia, can you unmute yourself? Maybe.
96.
Yeah, 96 is going to go inside of our bracket since it's our dividend. And then 3 is going to go on the outside because that's what we're dividing by. Draw our work bar down the side. All right, so Sunny, if I'm doing 96 divided by 3, what do I need to be thinking?
What times 3 equals 96?
Right, we're trying to think what times 3 equals 96 or gets close to 96 without going over. So what are you thinking, Sunny? What should we put over here next to our work bar to do first?
And so sometimes, guys, if that seems too big, if you have no idea, 3 times, those numbers get really big. Because even if I know my 12, I know 12 times 3 is 36, and we're way beyond that. So that's when you want to start thinking, can I take 10 times 3, which is 30? Can I do 20 times 3, which is 60? And then take those bigger multiples of 10 to see how close you can get to 96. Because with a problem like this, I don't think anyone would know just off the top of their head, 3 times 35 equals 96. Like, that's a really big one. Now, maybe 3 times something to give you 9, that might help you. So start thinking those multiples of 10 and taking out those pieces, those groups away, and then you'll have your final answer.
Uh, 3 times 3 equals 9. I know
So
that.
what? Go ahead, Sunny.
3 times 3 equals 9. But I don't know what to do with the 6 after.
All right, so if we know 3 times 3 is 9, what would 3 times 30 be?
So try writing
10.
that off to the side. You know how to take off the 0. So I'm not sure, Miss Gibbon, if you have a sheet of paper or something to do your work on, but write all these down because then they could come back and help you. You just want to make sure you're not writing too close to your work bar because you don't want that to confuse you when you're finding the answer. So you might want to write down 3 times 3 equals 9. And you see that's way too far from 96. So then try 3 times 10 equals, well, what is 3 times 10, Sunny?
30.
Okay, that's still really far. Let's try 3 times 20. And, we take off that 0, put it in your answer, and then you have 3 times 2.
60.
There you go. All right, 60 is still kind of far from 90. So let's try, what's the next multiple of 10? 10, 20, then? Remember, multiple means count by 10. What comes after 20?
30.
Yep, so let's go put down 3 times 30. Take off your 0, put it in your answer, and you're left with what?
90.
Okay, we're getting pretty close. Let's try 3 times. What comes after 30?
40.
Let's try 3 times 40. Take off that 0.
120.
Okay, what do we know about 96 and 120?
They're far apart from
Right,
each other.
120 is too big. So Miss Gabine, go ahead and cross off 3 times 40. We can't use that one. So let's go ahead and use the one above there. So Sunny, we're first going to take away how many groups of 3 from 96?
2.
No, look at Miss Gabine, circle the equation that got us closest. How many groups of 3 do we need to have 90? Look at that equation. 3 times what gave you 90?
3 times 30.
30. So you're taking 30 groups of 3 away. So that's why you're putting 30 on the outside. So then you multiply what you have, your partial quotient. I'm pointing to this like you guys can see me. 30 times 3 is what, Sunny?
90.
90. So now you're going to take 90 away. Now what do we do?
Subtract.
6 minus 0?
6.
9 minus 9?
0.
Okay, so what do we have left, Sunny?
6.
6. Can we make any more groups of 3 from 6?
Yes.
Yes. So since the number that we have in that little, I always call it like a bank, what's under the bracket, since that number is bigger than the divisor, we have to keep going. So now, Sunny, what should you be thinking?
What times 3 equals 6?
Very good, or gets us very close to it. So look at the list that Miss Gabine wrote. Do we have anything that we can use there?
Yes.
What could you use?
3 times 20.
3 times 20 equals what?
60.
How much do you have left in your bank?
6.
So if you only have 6, can you take 60 away?
No.
No, so that's too big. Look at all those numbers over there. Does anything equal 6 or get you close to 6 without going over?
No.
No, so that means we have to go smaller than what?
3.
We have to go smaller than 3 times 3. So what would you like to try?
2.
What's 3 times 2?
6.
Okay, and that's what we were looking for. So where does that 2 go? You're taking 2 groups of 3 away. 3 is your divisor. So you already have that up on your bracket. So when you took your 30 groups away, look where it went on the outside of the work bar. So now we're taking another 2 groups of 3 away. So where will your 2 go?
On the outside of the work bar?
Right, and you want to make sure it's in the ones place. You don't want to put it underneath the 3 and the 30, because then when you add, you're going to get the wrong answer. You want to keep your numbers lined up, so it's going to go on the outside of your work bar in the ones place. And then what is 2 times 3?
6.
And then that 6 needs to be directly to the left of your 2 to make sure everything's lined up. There you go. Okay, so since we're taking that 6 away, now what do we do, Sunny?
We subtract.
Subtract what?
6 minus 6.
Equals?
0.
So we have nothing left in our bank. So now we know that we're what?
We're good.
We're finished dividing, but we don't have an answer yet. How do you come up with your answer?
Add 30 plus 2.
Very good. So now you're going to draw your line and you're going to add up your partial quotients on the outside of your work bar. 30 plus 2 equals?
32.
Do we have any remainder?
No.
Nope. So don't forget, you need to still put your 32 on top of that work bar. How would you check this to see if you're correct?
You could do long division or
Yeah, I don't want to use division though. I want a quick way. What's the opposite of division?
32 times 3.
Okay, so I'm going to type it in my calculator. 32 times 3 equals. Can you see that?
96.
Does that match our dividend?
Yes.
Then that's how you know you're correct. Good job.
Alrighty. Yeah, make sure you're copying this down as we're going along so that you have it in your book. All right, let's move on. Let's do number 3. Alrighty, Hunter, how am I going to set up my bracket for this one? What number is going to go inside of my bracket?
85.
85.
And then 5 is going to go like to the left.
You're right. And then I'm going to draw my work bar down the side. All right. So Jack, I'm trying to do 85 divided by 5. So what do I need to be thinking? Jack, what do I need to be thinking? I'm doing 85 divided by 5.
Some multiplication things that can get close to the 85.
Right. So you can think of some multiplication things. So we can kind of write some on the side. So let's go through some.
Where do you want to start, Jack?
5 times 5.
5 times 5. What's 5 times 5?
25.
25. You think we can get closer?
Mm-hmm.
What do we want to try next? 5 times what?
5 times 15.
5 times 15.
Can you do 5 times 15 in your head?
No.
Yeah, we want to only do facts that you can do in your head. Nothing that's going to take any work. So just do ones that, like extended facts or basic facts.
5 times 5. 5 times 10.
5 times 10. What's 5 times 10?
50.
50. That's pretty close. What's the next multiple of 10? Let's see if that would work.
11.
You could do 5 times 11. That's not a multiple of 10, but 5 times 11, you guys should know your 11s. You can use that.
What's 5 times 11, Jack?
55.
55. We're getting closer. So can we try the next multiple of 10? Remember, when we're thinking a multiple of 10, we're counting by tens. So what would be the next one after 10?
15.
No, counting by tens, Jack.
Oh, 20.
20. And if we cross off our 0 and write it in our answer, we're left with 5 times 2, Jack.
5 times 2 is 100.
5 times 2 is 10. And when we add it with our 0 that we cross off, we're at 100. So can we use 5 times 20?
No.
Yeah, no, because it's bigger than 85. So which one do we want to use for our partial quotient?
5 times 11.
Yeah, we can use 5 times 11. All right, so where am I going to write my 11 in my problem, Jack?
Under 85, or like on the side.
Yeah, outside of the work bar, but yeah, still kind of under 85. All right, so I did that. What do I need to do next, Jack?
Bring the 11 under the 85.
Well, what do I need to do first before I write anything under 85? I need to do what with my 11 and my 5?
You gotta add them together. I mean, multiply them together.
Multiply, because 11 is how many groups of 5 that I'm taking out of 85. So we need to first write down how many groups of 5, or how many total we're going to take away from 85. So 11 groups of 5 is what, Jack?
55.
55. So now what am I going to do?
You're gonna subtract 85 and 55.
Right, I'm going to subtract. That'll leave me with what? 5 minus 5. So what's 5? Yeah, 5 minus 5 is 0, and 8 minus 5 is 3, so I'm left with 30. So do I need to keep going, or am I all done, Jack?
You have to keep going.
You have to keep going. All right. So let's see. Elijah. So now I have 30 divided by 5. So 5 times what will get me close to 30?
5 times 3.
5
Or
times
6.
6. What's 5 times 6?
30.
30. We'll write our 6 over here. So what's 6 groups of 5, Elijah?
30.
30. And then what will I do next?
You'll subtract the 30 minus 30.
Which is what?
0.
0. So now I'm all done with my dividing. What do I need to do to find my final quotient? And here, let me fix my 6 so that it's more under the ones place. Elijah, what am I going to do to find my final quotient?
You've got to add up the numbers by the work bar.
Yeah, I need to add up 11 and 6. And what's 11 plus 6, Elijah?
17.
17. So where can I write my final answer, Elijah?
At the very top.
Very top, right on top of our bracket. And you can even write it up here too in our equation. Right, so Trace, how would I check my answer now that I'm done? I want to figure out if I did my division properly.
To see if we get 85.
5 times 17.
Right, so we're gonna start, we can start with our answer that we got, 17. And then when we multiply by 5, since we're doing the opposite of division, we should get 85. Let me put it in the calculator. 17, 5. And I don't know if you guys can see, it says 85. Does that match our dividend trace?
Yes.
Yes, so that means we did our division properly. All right. So when we're doing these problems with partial quotients, it's pretty similar to long division. The main difference is you don't have to bring any numbers down since we're focusing on the whole number. We're not kind of breaking it up into two parts. So if it helps you, you can write on the side your steps like divide, multiply, subtract. Just like remember with our acronym like dangerous monkey swipe bananas randomly, or dad, mother, sister, brother. You can kind of think of it in the same way because we would divide first and write our number on the side instead of on the top. Then we multiply and put the answer from our multiplication under here, and then we subtract to see
Let's
if
try one. So let's pretend like the Zoom's over and it's time for you to work on your own. Let's see if you can do number 4 by yourself. And then Miss Gabine will go ahead and do it with you guys, and we'll see. You're going to check, did you follow the correct steps? And if you didn't, we're going to see if you can pick up with her to figure out where you went wrong. So go ahead and set up number 4, 52 divided by 4.
Right, so if I'm doing 52 divided by 4.
And I don't want you to use long division. I want you to try today's algorithm. That means today's method. You're going to try partial quotients. So go ahead. Where's your 52 go? Let's get it set up. 52 under the bracket. 4 on the outside. And go ahead and draw your work bar. Okay, I'm going to set my timer on my phone for 2 minutes. We're going to see how far you can get in 2 minutes, and then we'll check it together. I'm just going to unshare Miss Gabine just so we can kind of watch everyone while they're working. Then you can reshare when you check it. Tyler, are you working? Jack, do you have a pencil and stuff? Okay. Tyler, are you there? Gracie, are you there?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to my screen.
Okay. Noah, pull the lid of your computer down. Oh, there you are. Now I see you. You doing okay, honey? This will be good practice for when you have to try some on your own. All right, there's the timer. So let's see how far was anyone able to come up with an answer? Wave your hand if you have an answer. All right, let's see if you're correct.
All righty. So let's see. So Finn, how many groups did you try to take first?
Keep in mind, boys and girls, there's not only one way to solve this. So if Finn took a number and you did something differently, that's okay. Don't start erasing because you don't have the same thing.
I took away 10 first.
Okay, so you took away 10 groups first. And what's 10 groups of 4?
40.
40. And then what do I need to do with my 52 and my 40?
Subtract them.
Subtract. And that leaves me with how much, Finn?
12.
12. All right, can I take any more groups of 4, Finn?
Yes.
How many?
3.
3. And what's 3 groups of 4?
12.
12. So how much am I left with now?
0.
0. So now how am I going to find my final quotient, Finn?
Add 10 plus 3.
There you go.
Okay. Add 10 plus 3. And what is that, Finn?
13.
13. So where am I going to write my final answer?
On the top.
Yeah, on top of my bracket. And I can do it up here with my equation. Nice work.
And how many of you had 13? All right, I see some hands. Good. Okay, so we're going to keep practicing this. We have more practice tomorrow, right, Miss Gabine?
Yes, we do.
But I think these 4 today would probably be good.
Yeah.
I think everyone's brains
Look
seems
on
like
school.
they're
You looked
tired.
on school. What else do you need to do today?
Wow,
Reese.
everyone whose hands up, I'm so proud of you for looking and making that mental checklist or maybe even a written checklist for yourself. Good job.
So we have,
you have to do the sprint and extra math.
right, we need to do our lesson 19, letter A, sprint.
I'm looking at it right now, and it's some basic division and also some bigger number division. Like I see 68 divided by 2. So I'm going to give you a tip. So if I see a problem like 68 divided by 2, I have 2 different things, 2 different strategies that I'm thinking of to solve this. Can anyone think of one? What's one way, Isla?
What times 2 equals 68?
Okay, and you could do that. I don't really think I know 2 times something, but Isla, when you're dividing by 2, what are you doing? You're splitting it into what?
Equal parts.
How many equal parts?
2.
So it means you're putting it in half when you have 2. So I would think, what's half of 6, Isla?
3.
What's half of 8?
4.
That's how I would get my answer. You could also do 2 times what equals 8. There's where you get your 4. 2 times what equals 6. And there's how you get your 3. So for problems like that, if you come to it and you're like, I don't know that number, it's too big. You're not expected to know that one like you should know 6 times 6, 6 times 7, 8 times 5. But you should, by this point, have the skills and the strategies to take it apart and get an answer. So those ones, 39 divided by 3, 45 divided by 3, those ones will take a little bit more time. They might not be as automatic, but you now have the skills and strategies to figure those out. Okay?
Alrighty, so we have our lesson 19A sprint and get on your extra math.